My only question is why? Why? Outside of a massive payday, the first fight wasn't necessarily a competitive fight, and if they do it again, I think it's going to be less competitive. I don't think this is going to go very well for one Saul.
Canelo's going to definitely ego kick in and want to do a rematch.
No, I don't know. I don't believe that. You know, I think the warrior spirit might want him to have a rematch, but I don't think the rematch is going to do him any justice, you know.
Terence Crawford, fresh off his historic victory in September, has finally agreed to run it back with Canelo Alvarez, but he's holding the contract hostage with one non-negotiable demand. He has made it clear, the B-side days are over. Crawford is done being the challenger. He is now the king, and if Canelo wants a shot at redemption, he's going to have to pay a record-breaking price for it. This isn't just a negotiation, it's a power move. And Crawford is ready to bankrupt Canelo's ego before the first bell even rings.
But it's no longer breaking news, but Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez are apparently in talks for a rematch in 2026, and my only question is why? Why? Outside of a massive payday, the first fight wasn't necessarily a competitive fight, and if they do it again, I think it's going to be less competitive. I don't think this is going to go very well for one Saul. Like I said, the Ring Magazine reporting as of about 4 days ago now, I'm a little late to the news, but Canelo Alvarez wants Terence Crawford rematch, says negotiations are underway for 2026. Now, first off, I expect nothing less from Canelo. He wants to get that fight back because, well, number one, it's a somewhat advantageous matchup at 168 for him, and there's not many other matchups at 168 for Canelo right now that offer him any sort of advantages. He says, I want my run back, I want my get back, but I gotta be honest, I don't know how this goes well for Canelo in a rematch.
Terence "Bud" Crawford isn't refusing the rematch. He is simply demanding the A-side check that comes with being the undisputed king. Today, we are breaking down exactly why Crawford is demanding this record-breaking purse, why Canelo's own promoters are terrified to sign the contract, and the shocking insider theory that suggests this entire rematch talk might just be smoke and mirrors to save face.
You know, to Sergio's point, a lot of the people that I'm been talking to when it comes to this fight, they're not like, it's almost like the air was taken out of them. They're not excited about even the idea of a rematch, or the subject doesn't even come up. Usually the conversations are, hey man, is there a rematch clause? You think they'll run it back? What do you think will win? Like, people just, even casuals, realize that Crawford, he schooled Canelo, man. He really did. I don't think people want to see this fight. I agree with Sergio Mora.
Be at a smaller arena because people already saw Canelo get dominated by the better fighter, and the better fighter will do it again, even easier and with more confidence.
Yeah. Se están hablando de una revancha. Yo creo que es más fácil le va a ganar a Canelo.
¿Oh, sí? ¿Por qué?
Yo lo creo. Pues digo, es el estilo de Crawford, ¿no? Yo creo que Canelo ya le gana a Crawford.
Sí. ¿Hay algo que puede ser Canelo para ganar o para hacer la pelea más cerrada?
Bueno, pues lo que todos sabemos, ¿no? Yo creo que a entrar al intercambio de golpes y pues tirar más golpes, ¿no? Pero digo, ahora sí que es boxeo y realmente pues se preparan ya. Si Crawford le ganó una vez y supo cómo ganarle, yo creo que puede ganarle nuevamente, ¿no? Pero digo, no hay nada escrito arriba del ring. Digo, puede ser que una buena estrategia de Canelo y pase diferente, ¿no? Pero realmente yo creo que, pues digo, trae ganas y trae hambre Crawford, y digo, pues Canelo ya hizo lo suyo, digo, ya no es lo mismo, pero digo, con que aprender una buena pelea es más que suficiente.
Let's get straight to the money, because this is where the power dynamic has shifted violently. In their first bout back in September 2025, Canelo Alvarez reportedly walked away with a guaranteed purse north of $100 million. Crawford, despite being the pound-for-pound number one, took the B-side money, roughly half of that, just to get the opportunity to prove his greatness. And prove it he did.
But you hold on. You keep saying this.
Hold up. Canelo, see, this is the thing about Canelo. He sometimes relies on the environment, the hostile crowd, to also help him win this fight. Not only with the judges, but with the opponent. Crawford even handled that. you know, you can't prepare for that magnitude, the roar of the crowd, the lights, everyone booing you. You can't prepare for that. Crawford was ready for that. Even his ring entrance, when he came in with that guitar case, it was, man, that's one of my all-time favorite entrances.
Desperado. Yeah, it's an homage to Desperado. Yeah.
Actually, it was Mariachi. That was part one. Desperado was part two. That right there, it was me against the world. That was his mentality. Me against all these Mexicans. Me against Canelo in Las Vegas. Me against Canelo and the judges that he probably has in his pocket. Me against everyone, and Bud shut everyone up. And you think?
Yeah, but hold on.
Canelo's going to be able to do it the second time around?
I don't know. I don't think it's an open and shut case as you do. Let me ask you.
The fight generated a staggering $45 million live gate at Allegiant Stadium, proving that the world was tuning in just as much for Bud as they were for the Mexican superstar.
Some may argue he's the greatest Mexican fighter. He's the most successful, accomplished Mexican fighter in boxing history. And Canelo is 63 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford essentially jumped up 2 weight classes, 3 weight classes, technically 2. And beat Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo, after the fight, said he had no answers. But Canelo was the undisputed champion. So he had a rematch clause. And as I told you guys in the video I did, Terence Crawford is contractually obligated to the rematch. So Bernie the boxer, he reveals that Terence Crawford is demanding that he gets the lion's share. Now, it was reported the gate did over $45 million, close to $46 million gate. It also sold 65,000 people in the arena at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And so with that said, Terence Crawford was dominant that night. Canelo got 150 million reportedly, and Terence Crawford got 50 to 70 million, right? And so now Terence Crawford wants the roles to be reversed, as he should. Now, keep in mind, Canelo signed a multi-fight deal with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, okay? That's guaranteeing him a specific amount of purse. So Terence Crawford is saying, listen, I came out on top, as he did. I'm the victor, as he was, right? It was very successful, not only just because of Canelo Alvarez, but because of me as well, as he's right. And so I demand and I deserve to get paid heavily, and as he should.
Now Crawford is leveraging that victory with cold, hard logic. His team's argument is simple. You don't get paid the winner's share when you lose the fight.
So you cannot sit there and tell me that there is a more marketable fight out there for both these guys than running it back once again. Your plan to have him drop down to 160 and fight Erislandy Lara is stupid. Canelo Alvarez is not going to move up to fight David Benavidez now at 175. There's nowhere to go. Like, Crawford could still try to conquer 160, but who is putting up real money for that? Canelo has already cleaned out the 168-pound division besides Terence Crawford. Where else is he going to go? I just think the more time passes, the more we get away from the outcome of this fight, that's when people are going to start to realize that doing it one more time is in the best interest of both these guys. And for boxing, by the way, because that's another big event that you could put on the calendar.
You're pretty stupid for a smart guy, especially when it comes to matchmaking.
Crawford is now the undisputed super middleweight champion. He holds the belts, he holds the bragging rights, and he holds the leverage. He is demanding that the roles reverse entirely. If Canelo wants to run it back, he has to accept the B-side pay, while Crawford takes the $100 million lion's share. It's an ultimatum that hits Canelo right where it hurts most: his ego.
His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh understands that Terence Crawford's value is extremely high. And he'll be 39 this September, right? So, again, he deserves to get compensated. Now, the question is going to be, is this rematch going to sell enough? Well, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh truly don't really care about, you know, the purses, right? He just wants great fights. But is it going to garner the money to pay out those purses? Right? That's where the question lies. But Terence Crawford deserves it. And he's demanding that he gets $100 million. As he should. As he should. He has more to lose than Canelo Alvarez. And he can get a legacy fight at middleweight to now, I don't want to say pad his stats, but to pad his stats. If he competes at middleweight, right, and becomes undisputed at middleweight, that'll make him a 4-division undisputed champion and a 6-division champion overall, right? He has more to gain than Canelo Alvarez, right? And he has more to lose.
But there is a reason Canelo's team is hesitating, and it goes deeper than just the bank account. Leading up to the first fight, the narrative was that Canelo was too big and too strong for a welterweight moving up. That myth was shattered round by round. Eddie Hearn, one of the biggest power brokers in the sport, has been unusually candid about the prospects of a second fight. He's been caught hinting that a rematch is a bad idea, calling Crawford a stylistic nightmare for the Mexican legend.
And you're going to get beat by, I was going to say young, sharp guys. Yeah. Terence is 38, isn't he? I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah, 38. It's crazy. You know, I heard Shakur saying last night that he says he thinks he should and will retire from the sport. But I don't know who else is out there for Crawford. I mean, he's only going to want to fight for 20, 30, 40 million. But who is there to fight for that kind of money? I'm not sure, you know.
The rematch, you think the rematch would be of interest?
I don't think Canelo will want a rematch. Yeah. I think there's a rematch clause. I don't know, but
there's
no.
Not. Yeah.
So, you know, it's very unusual for Canelo to go into a fight without a rematch clause. Yeah. But for me, I just can't see Canelo going, yes, I want to run that back, you know?
The reality is that the first fight wasn't a lucky punch or a close split decision. It was a comprehensive dismantling. Crawford exposed Canelo's inability to deal with elite lateral movement and switch-hitting precision. Canelo didn't just lose, he looked lost. Now, his promoters are trapped in a nightmare scenario.
Hey, yo, peace of the family. I just got through looking at a video that Bernie the Boxer shot. Shout out to my main man Bernie over there in Omaha, man. Bernie the Boxer. Shout out to him, man. Bernie, pretty much, as you guys know, Saul Canelo Alvarez is being reported that Saul Canelo Alvarez wants to fight the rematch with Terence Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford, currently the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. So now, according to Bernie, now this is what Bernie said that Bud told him, according to Crawford. Bernie said that in order for, if Canelo want that rematch, he got to get paid $100 million. Meaning, Bud got to get paid $100 million. Now, and guess what? I told him the same. It's amazing that Bernie said that, because I told Bud that prior to Bernie coming out saying it publicly. I'm like, look, according to what y'all said, what we heard, Canelo got paid $100 million or something of that sort to fight Crawford. Crawford reported that he only made $10 million. But I'm telling you, he made more than that. You know, he made way more than that. You know what I mean? It's being reported also that Crawford made $50 million to fight Canelo Alvarez. And I'm saying, okay, look, and he was the B-side. Now that Crawford is the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, if Canelo want to run it back, guess what? Crawford got to get the $100 million.
They have a rematch clause they can activate, but they know that stylistically, nothing changes in 6 months. If they pay Crawford $100 million, they are essentially paying for their golden boy to get embarrassed again, potentially ending his career as a top-level attraction permanently. They are caught between a rock and a hard place. Look weak by ducking the rematch, or look foolish by paying a fortune to lose it.
Now, again, it's up to Turkey. Whatever Bud can negotiate, that's fine. But guess what? And I know Canelo's the bigger draw. That ain't the point. The point is you lost. He lost to the small guy The guy that moved up from welterweight beat you. You know, he showed that he was levels above you, Canelo. So now guess what? He needs to get levels above you pay. That's just the reality of the situation. He made 50 his last fight. You know what I mean? I know he said he made 10, but it is what it is. They say he made, you know, from what I've learned, he made 50. And Canelo made 100. And then now, guess what? They need to flip it. If Canelo want to make 100, fine. No problem with that. But guess what? You got to pay Crawford 100. The $100 million man. Let him see what it feel like to get paid $100 million. It's as simple as that. If Canelo want that fight again with Crawford, if Turk Al-Sheikh tell him, look, you know, Canelo, we only have 150 million for this fight. You know, Crawford wants 100. If you want to fight him, take 50. See what Canelo says. And if Canelo believe he can beat him, take that and beat him. You get what I'm saying? But it is what it is, fam. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. I hope Bud get his money. You dig? Catch you guys on the next one. Leave your comments below. You know my motto. Don't beat me there, beat me there. Peace.
However, there are whispers from the inside that this entire negotiation might be a charade. Bernie Thaw Boxer, a prominent voice in the community who has been tracking these camps closely, dropped a bombshell theory recently. He suggests that the rematch rumors are largely fake news, driven by internet clickbait, and that Canelo has no actual intention of stepping back in the ring with Bud. According to this theory, the noise is just there to keep Canelo's name in the headlines while they quietly look for an easier exit route.
And he did it so cleanly on Mexican Independence Weekend that it's just like Canelo's gonna definitely ego kick in and want to do a rematch.
No, I don't know. I don't believe that. You know, I think the warrior spirit might want him to have a rematch, but I don't think the rematch is going to do him any justice. You know, I don't see no cause for no rematch the way Bud handled him, because Bud handled him in every which way. You know, he never got buzzed. He seemed like the stronger guy in there, and he the one that hurt this guy. So there's nothing that we can say that will warrant a rematch. I think Bud won so clearly. I thought he damn near won every round. You know, I seen that Andre Ward and Max Kellerman, which kind of pissed me off. They gave him, in a sense that, not pissed me off like that, but I didn't think he won the 5th round. I didn't see him doing nothing much in the 5th round. They was making the 5th round like a, and if he keeps doing that, then he might win the fight or do. I didn't see him doing nothing much in the 5th round. You know, I didn't see that. So I don't think that there's no warrant for a rematch. Crawford handled him easy, pretty much. Easy. He made it look easy. And I'm not going to lie, you know, Crawford going to say the gracious things on the camera, or Crawford's going to say gracious things on the camera. But did I get those feelings when we, you know, he's showing a lot of respect as a fighter for fellow fighters. But if we want to be blunt, man, it was easy. You know, he didn't have no trouble in there.
Bernie went a step further, making a controversial comparison that has fans debating furiously. He claimed that Crawford's victory over Canelo was actually more impressive than Floyd Mayweather's famous masterclass against him in 2013.
But never seen it. You never seen it, because usually he probably scorned you. He probably have disdain for you for running. You know, like, this guy, he don't want to fight. But with Crawford, he was just like, where am I going with this guy? Where am I going with this guy? You know, I don't, everything I'm trying to do, he's taking it away from me. The pull counter he did, the looping shot that I showed, like he doubled the left hand up, then he turned it to a loop. He missed the first one. I think Canelo got out the way or blocked it, but he kept the punch going and turned it into a loop and caught him with a great shot. And the angle and the torque that he had on the shot spent his head. The angle and the torque that he had spent his head. So you know the power that he had to have to anchor the shot, man, in the agility that he showed. So like I said, Crawford making up punches. You don't even see guys doing stuff like that, man.
The logic is that Mayweather beat a green, inexperienced 23-year-old Canelo. Crawford, on the other hand, dismantled a prime, experienced, and physically mature Canelo Alvarez. If this analysis holds water, it explains why the rematch talks feel so hollow. Canelo knows he ran into a master who beat him worse than Floyd ever did, and no amount of money is worth experiencing that level of helplessness again.
Do you think Canelo would want that rematch? I mean, if anything else, Canelo, when he loses, He always wants to run it back, man. You don't think he would run it back?
No.
Well,
I don't think that like it's not because of his heart, because it's because of his guts. Like he want to do it, but there's no way he can win that fight. He cannot beat Crawford. He can't beat him. And he was trying. I was watching that fight. When Crawford was punching, he was punching when Crawford was punching. He was throwing to the body when Crawford was going to the head. You know, he was trying everything he could, but then he didn't have no answer. And he said that I just didn't have no answer for him. So there's nothing going to change about Crawford, you know, unless, you know, something dramatic happened where he heard something and it was something like that. But far as a Crawford as full, who's going to beat him? Nobody can beat him.
One of the few arguments Canelo's loyalists cling to is the hope that Crawford, who fights infrequently, might show up old or rusty in a rematch. But that hope is fading fast. We've learned that the secret to Crawford's longevity is a lifestyle that is almost the complete opposite of the modern boxing superstar. He doesn't balloon in weight, and he doesn't live the party lifestyle. Reports from his camp indicate he stays in boxing mode year-round, constantly competing in basketball, wrestling, and shadow boxing even when he has no fight scheduled.
And, you know, guys will always be like, you know, I stay in the gym, I'm not rusty, blah, 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 whatever. And then fight night comes and they rusty as hell. Like, how is it that Crawford is able to fight one time a year, have a big fight, not even like tune-up type of guys, and it's just like, yo, it's like this dude he's never rusty. Like, how is he able to kind of do that?
Because Crawford is always in boxing mode. You know, he's always playing something. He's being active. So he's not just sitting around rusting away. You know, he's always shadow boxing, or he's always wrestling with somebody, or he's always playing basketball. So he's keeping his you know what I'm saying? If you're playing basketball, you keeping all your, you know what I'm saying, your alertness up there. You know, you running up and down the court, you bumping, you know what I'm saying, you're using your physical strength in there, muscling your way to the rim, you know, like I say, stay shadow boxing. And you know, that's just it. Crawford stayed doing something. So, you know,
this constant state of readiness keeps his reflexes sharp and his mental processing speed elite. In contrast, Canelo has been in grueling wars for nearly 2 decades. The wear and tear on his body is undeniable. While Crawford is preserving his engine, Canelo is watching his odometer roll over into the danger zone. The idea that waiting a few months for negotiations will help Canelo and hurt Crawford is a myth. If anything, the gap between them is only widening as Crawford settles into the weight class and Canelo's physical decline accelerates.
Canelo, he has mastered his style. Now, typically, Latinos, they got their own style versus melanated black people having like more rhythm, more flashiness and panache to their stuff, more swag.
Yeah.
We just fight different than other ethnicities. If you want to throw Amir Khan in there, his ethnicity, he was in and out.
Yeah, that's the European kind of style.
Textbook, you know, but that was his style. Canelo got his style and he mastered it. Terence Crawford cannot take nothing away from him. He's like freakishly good, you know. He go both sides, southpaw, orthodox, you know, and I feel like he adapt well.
If you look at the reaction across social media, the mystique of Canelo Alvarez has officially shattered. Forums like Reddit and Twitter are flooded with fans stating plainly that Canelo is done at the elite level. The sentiment isn't just that he lost, but that he was handled easy. The fear factor that Canelo used to carry into negotiations has evaporated. The general consensus is that a rematch would be nothing more than a money grab, a desperate attempt to cash out one last time before hanging up the gloves.
Did you watch the Terence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight?
Yeah, I did.
Woo, talk about slick. Oh my goodness. Who's ever done that? Who's ever jumped up 2 weight classes like that? It's crazy.
Scary.
He's so clever, and it got to the point where he got so comfortable, he's like pit-patting him, and then like, what? Bap, bap, bap. And you're
like,
you're
wow.
watching, like, this is amazing.
Like, that's history, obviously. You shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to fight at that weight for the first time ever.
Against one of the greatest
Undisputed greatest of all time. And do what you did. You're beyond an outlier. You're an anomaly.
This shift in public opinion is dangerous for the promotion. If the fans believe the result is a foregone conclusion, it becomes incredibly difficult to sell the fight, let alone generate the revenue needed to pay Crawford his $100 million demand. Fans are already arguing that Canelo should retire rather than suffer another beatdown. When the paying public starts looking at a mega fight as a mismatch, the financial model collapses. Crawford knows this, which is exactly why he secured his bag up front with the demand. He knows the hype machine can't save Canelo this time. Even the legends of the sport are warning Crawford to stay away from a second fight. Roy Jones Jr., a man who knows a thing or two about legacy, has reportedly urged Crawford to ignore the rematch entirely. His perspective is fascinating. Beating Canelo once proves you're the best. Beating him twice just proves he's washed up. There is a feeling that Crawford has bigger fish to fry if he wants to cement his status as the greatest of all time, perhaps by chasing a title in a fourth weight class. Devin Haney and other contemporaries have echoed this, suggesting that the $100 million payday is the only reason to take the risk. But for Canelo, the trap is even deadlier. If he fights and loses again, his legacy shifts from being a Mexican warrior to a fighter who didn't know when to quit. Crawford has effectively trapped him. By demanding the money, Crawford has put the ball in Canelo's court. Admit you can't afford me and look like a coward, or pay me and likely lose your career. So, what happens if the money is put up? What happens if the Saudis or a massive gate make the $100 million happen and the bell rings for round 1 of the rematch? The predictions are grim. Analysts like Bernie aren't just calling for a Crawford win, they are predicting a stoppage. The belief is that Crawford spent the first fight downloading the data, learning Canelo's timing, and figuring out the puzzle. In a second fight, he doesn't need to be cautious. Terence Crawford has won the negotiation before a single punch has been thrown in the rematch. By setting the price at $100 million, he has validated his status as the new face of boxing and forced Canelo Alvarez into an impossible corner. The brutal condition is not just about the money, it's about respect, dominance, and the changing of the guard. The question you have to ask yourself is simple. Is Terence Crawford pricing himself out to avoid the risk, or is he the only man in boxing honest enough to charge exactly what he's worth? Does Canelo have the guts to sign that check for his own potential demise? So, that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.